Okay, folks, Evil Dead, whatever the fuck, Evil Dead Rise, Mike's Instant Movie Review. That would be a good title for another sequel. Evil Dead, whatever the fuck. So, I guess here's the story. Should you go see this movie or not? If you're an Evil Dead fanatic, if you're someone who's familiar with the Evil Dead 2, the guy cutting off his hand, I guess, was there another reboot or resequel or whatever the fuck, or another lineage in this system? There probably was that I'm just forgetting. You'll probably want to go see this movie and you'll probably enjoy it, or at least enjoy hate watching it, or telling everyone on social media how they could have done it better if they only used your ideas. So yeah, go ahead and see it. Now, if you're a horror fan, I'm not sure. I'm a horror fan. I do, unless there are exceptions of franchises I like. But I kind of like standalone movies, just one fucking movie, one ticket, one story, 90 minutes, 2 hours at the most, and that's it. I don't need to sign up for a lifetime of bullshit. But this movie, you know what it reminded me of in theme, or in delivery, or execution? Tonality. That Ghostbusters Afterlife movie, that was what, the summer of 2021, maybe the summer of 2020. Remember that Ghostbusters Afterlife movie where they try to make it all fucking serious and dramatic? That's kind of what this Evil Dead felt like to me. The special effects were pretty damn good. The acting wasn't bad, but just there wasn't a lot of humor, and I'm not, as you could probably tell by now, as you can probably tell by now, I'm not the biggest Evil Dead fan in the world. I'm not totally informed on every fucking thing about the Evil Dead series. But what I can say is that I do recall that humor, and that chin guy, the leading with the chin, Bruce, whatever the fuck his name is, what was his name? Bruce Campbell, I believe. He was a big part of it. I don't remember seeing any cameo from him in this thing, which would have been nice. I think they did do some visual homages, like when standing there with the fucking chainsaw and shit. The blood. But part of what I guess I didn't particularly like about this movie, first of all, it was my fault. The timing was off. I didn't particularly want to see this movie during the day on a Sunday at 1. It wasn't good timing for a horror film, but yet I didn't want to wait another hour for a different movie. I didn't feel like seeing Chevalier for several reasons. I didn't feel like putting my sophisticated hat on. And I was just kind of trapped, like, okay, go see this or hold your dick for 45 minutes. And I didn't feel like holding it for 45 minutes, so I went and saw this. And I knew it going in, like, horror films and matinees really don't work. You've got to see a horror film at night. It's just better. So that was an error on my part. But as far as the movie goes, what was I going to say here? Just what's going on in this movie is, first off, they start off with like this summer camp scene. And I wasn't sure if those characters had any the fuck to do thing with the characters that are in the most part of the movie, which is this family. And apparently the young teenage boy has kind of somehow gotten a hold of this book that was like in the first couple of Evil Dead movies way back when. And I don't know if I'm missing a movie somewhere in between that explained this situation, but yet these child actors are pretty young. I mean, it seemed like a teenage boy, a teenage sister, and then like a 7 or 8 year old little sister. And I know that things like Poltergeist, way back when, used children effectively in horror, but this one's a little bit different because it's the mom who gets possessed, as you've seen in the trailers or the previews. And the mom is the one trying to kill her own kids. And, she's using a big fucking knife to stab her son's arteries in his arm. And all this shit. And just, maybe because our world is so full of this type of thing in reality, of harm to children and mothers attacking their kids and killing them and stuff, I guess it doesn't land as well for me anymore. A sign of maturity on my part. Mature. If you ever heard Jim Ross try to say the word mature, he says mature, mature, like he's ordering some fucking piece of buffalo steak from a Greek menu, but I say mature. But in any event, I just couldn't, this movie just did not, I don't know, I just didn't like it. You know, what the fuck? I mean, I'll just be honest. At about halfway point, I mean, I think I dozed off a couple of times in the early parts. And it's just one of those movies that feels like an excuse to get kills. And it just felt like another modern fucking adaptation or reboot or resequel or whatever the cunt of every other goddamned movie we've seen. So I just don't know. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Was it well made? Yes. Will the Evil Dead people like it? Probably. And maybe there's some allusions, references in the movie to those prior movies that I wasn't hip to the scene on. But I don't know. Just this family dynamic of the aunt. She's like a rock and roll guitar technician. She's got a fucking rock star's baby growing in her, and she's the one that has to defend her nephew and nieces against her own sister, their mother. Okay. I mean, I guess, you know, and at the end of the movie, spoiler, we put mom in the wood chipper and slice her all up. So I don't know. I mean, it was just weird. It just felt like it went to some places that weren't, you say, oh, they weren't comfortable. Well, that's an effective horror film. Okay. But I mean, you know, who gives a fuck? It reminds me of several months ago. I, went to this comedy club. It's an improv comedy club around here. This fucking improv troupe does their little improv shows. And it's kind of the only thing around here like that. So, I'm telling you an anecdote. It has a point. So I hadn't gone to this place in quite some time. And then, they send me an email and, hey, come out for the show. Here's a fucking promo code, whatever the fuck. And I go, and what it turns out to be is long-form improv storytelling. I don't know if they call it confessional or whatever the fuck, but basically one of these improv troopers goes out there and spills their guts on some real-life crazy shit they've been through, and then the rest of the troupe and themselves make a whole big night of improv about it, right? What could go wrong? Sounds like a recipe for fun. Well, instead, we get this woman telling us all about, she's a happy housewife now, married with 2 kids, but 15 years earlier, boy, what a whore she was. And she goes over to Italy, she's looking to get laid, and she's staying with her relatives, like her Italian relatives that she barely knew, and she's got a crush on her fucking cousin, and she wants to have sex with her cousin. And then she does. And this is a real story. This is not, she said it was. And it's like this woman who's now the happy 33-year-old housewife who does improv to make it seem like she's got a fucking career doing something besides, cooking pasta or whatever the fuck, or slicing oranges for her brats. She's going to tell us now how she fucking wanted to fuck her cousin, her first cousin, and then she did. Okay, thanks. And this is supposed to be funny? So it's just so I'm comparing that horrible, god-awful situation, which I haven't been back to that improv club place since that god-awful experience. I'm paying money to hear your fucked up therapy session, lady, about your weird sexual trauma past and fucking your cousin. So then I fucking, this movie, I'm supposed to be enjoying watching a mother, yes, I know it's a fucking movie, but watching a mother stab her son with a fucking knife in his bicep and ruin his ligaments and his cartilage. So I didn't like it. There, I said it. I didn't like this goddamn movie. People have been saying, Mike, you like all the movies. Well, here's one I didn't fucking like. It's a sunny day. I should have just done outdoor things and seen a movie at night. But I'm tired already, I haven't been sleeping well, and I wanted to get the movie out of the way and move on to other things. Anyway, this channel, One Mike Messier, for all the Mike's Instant Movie Reviews, One Man in a Camera Films for my movies that are better than these, and One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan for that stuff. Have a good day.